Hindutva in Nepal, and I've seen the dangers in India, and therefore I also wanted to talk with people about that, about those dangers. Somebody put out a message. He said, remember this, your parents hated Muslims more than they loved you. Remember this.
The Supreme Court Chief Justice Suryakant said cockroach on May 15.
Mm-hmm.
On the May 16, CJP was formed.
Mm-hmm.
Within a week, it got millions of followers.
Yeah, much more than the BJP has.
How was it possible, sir?
It is not a CJP protest any longer. It's a student uprising. Ones who fasted along with Sonam Wangchuk were actually students of the organization called ISA, which is a Marxist-Leninist student group. They fasted.
Extreme energy drink.
Namaste, welcome. This is Birat Anupam for the new episode of Shilapatra podcast. Today I am very pleased to welcome a very great figure from India. He has written more than 30 books, and recently he is in Kathmandu for a program. And if you follow the Indian media, you will find him writing for the Scroll. Recently he have written an article for Scroll. It is about the Gen Z movement of India. You can find his articles in The Hindu, The Wire, and among others. So today I'm joined by Harsh Mander, and social activist, author, columnist, and he has multiple identities. Sir, welcome to Shilapatra podcast.
My pleasure, Anupam. Yeah.
Sir, what brings you here in Kathmandu?
There was a conference actually for which I was called, which was reflecting on the uprisings across South Asia. People are trying to understand that. So that was the initial reason, and then of course I think I also worry about Hindutva in Nepal, and I've seen the dangers in India, and therefore I also wanted to talk with people about that, about those dangers. Yes.
And you have established one organization that support the victims of communal violence and the violence, religious violence, right? Yeah. Recently there was religious violence in Nepal.
Yes.
So did you notice something similar between what used to happen in India and what is happening in Nepal?
See, Nepal is on the way, and the RSS is, I know, very active here. The RSS, of course, has a long history, 100 years completed of the RSS. When they completed 100 years, I did a series of conversations to understand the RSS with Himal South Asia, in fact. And the first discussion was with Rajmohan Gandhi, who was Gandhiji's grandson. He's 90 years old. And I said, why is the RSS so opposed to Mahatma Gandhi? And he said two reasons. One, he said, Gandhiji said, India belongs to all. It doesn't matter what your religion, your caste, your gender, your wealth, your language, it belongs to all. The RSS feels it belongs to some, and it doesn't belong to some. And its hostility against Muslims is central to their working. And it's a politics of hate and exclusion. The other reason that he said was that Gandhi believed that Ishwar and Allah are the same. There is no difference. All religions are worthy of equal respect. And this is actually where the RSS over these years today is in power. And in the last 12 years in India, its politics of hate have changed and transformed our country. One of the most frightening things that have started is what is called lynching, where groups of people gather around mostly a Muslim man, and in the name of cow, or in the name of what they call love jihad, sometimes just because of ostensible Muslim identity, and they slowly beat him to death, and they videotape it, and they circulate it to millions. It's like a performance of hatred. intended to create fear in the heart of every Muslim. So I felt that as a society we also have to respond. And we've learned this from Gandhiji, that if you want to fight hate with hate, hate will only deepen. And how do you fight hate with a politics of what I call radical love that is based on courage, love for which to protect the other person you're willing to go to prison, lay down your life. So that kind of love is required at this time. And so I called, it's now 9 years, 2017 when these lynchings peaked. I called for what we can describe, what I called Karwane Mohabbat, which literally means a caravan of love. And we'd go to the home of every single person who has been lynched to say 4 things. One is that you are not alone. There are people who care in your pain. We seek forgiveness for what you've gone through. We pledge to be with you whatever happens as you pick up the broken pieces of your life, as you fight for justice, and we will tell your story. So it started as one journey, but it became so important, it meant so much to the people, that I've now completed about 100 journeys, because lynching doesn't end. So it is a battle from the people of India to say we don't accept this politics of hate, and the government is, of course, has charged me with every possible crime. There's the Enforcement Directorate, money laundering, terror.
And you don't use WhatsApp because of the possible spyware.
Yeah. So, no, and of course there are all kinds of criminal cases, etc. Because I am speaking about building a society based on love, and which belongs to all, where every religion has equal rights, equal space. So that is what the Karwane Mohabbat. It's not really an organization at all. It's a movement of a very different kind. And it really takes inspiration. When India's partition happened, there was a slaughter. 1 million people slaughtered each other. And Gandhiji showed us, he went to the homes of each person who had been killed and tried to bring people together. It is in that same spirit that we're trying to do this. The government, because of its actions against me, now it's not possible for me to receive funds from abroad or from India. But people send money, individuals send money. So we are giving pensions, say, to at least 100 widows and families of those who have been lynched. That continues because people send money and so on. So it's a movement to fight hate with courageous love. That is really what I'm trying to do.
But still there are educated people who support RSS. Even in Nepal I find the educated people. So why they are siding with the RSS?
See, it is mainly educated people, so-called educated people. The difference, it's very interesting that in America, they say if you are white, there's a greater chance you'll vote for Trump. But if you're white and have a university degree, there's a lower chance. In India, it is the opposite. If you're upper caste Hindu, there's a good chance you'll be voting BJP. Upper caste Hindu with a university degree, even higher chance. A university degree in the most elite institutions, even higher chance. Going abroad and studying, in even higher chance. So it is really India's most privileged and educated Indians who are carrying this hatred. Working class Indians still live together with harmony, with much greater harmony. And India, our whole civilizational history, we have, of course, we have a history of great cruelty of caste and gender. But if there's one thing really strong, which we have to offer to the world, it is this idea of equal respect for every faith, and culture. That there's no one way of being Indian. You just need to belong and feel comfortable in your own. During partition, Maulana Azad, when a lot of Muslims were told that they had to go to Pakistan, and he said, no, this is your own country. He said, caravans came to India from every part of the world, but instead of moving on, they stayed on in India and made this their land. And so it is this diversity, it's this respect for every belief system, for every culture. This is what we call the idea of India. This is what the freedom struggle was about. This is what was written into our constitution. But this is what the RSS is so opposed to. And because its central ideology is one of hatred against Muslims, hatred is something that is like a poison that goes deep into one's soul. In the protests that happened in India, somebody put out a message. He said, remember this, your parents hated Muslims more than they loved you. Remember this, because they continue to support a party which is doing nothing for young people. It's not doing anything for the education system. It's not doing anything for jobs. It's not building a future. Yet you support them because their only accomplishment is the hatred of Muslims. And I think I'm saying this here, sitting in Kathmandu, because the Nepali people are still not. That poison has still only begun to enter your souls. And when it enters your souls, we become a very different people. Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. The BJP RSS dreams of Nepal becoming a Hindu Rashtra. Let this be a country for all its people, equally a country for all people. Let it be a country where Ishwar and Allah are the same.
Today you wrote one article for Scroll and you said that India will not be the same after July 20.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you say that?
See, July 20 was when the students marched in. I was there that morning and you couldn't believe the numbers just kept growing. Students had come from every part of the country, every identity, every caste, every religion. And they refused to be beaten down. The police atrocities were extreme. But instead of feeling demoralized, they came with their bandages and wounds, and thousands more came. And they refused to be cowed down. And in fact, it was almost like I wrote in the article, it was like a carnival of protest. It was like, singing, dancing late into the night. And the posters and slogans focused mostly on Narendra Modi. And they made fun of him. They teased him in ways that would have been unthinkable earlier. He'd gone to Italy and given Melody chocolates to the Italian Prime Minister.
That was very viral in social media.
And so the kids were all having Melanie chocolates and posing with them. They were, it was just, there was this, the offerings in the Ram temple in Ayodhya have been stolen. So they had a poster where Modi ji is asking Shri Ram, please save me. And Ram is saying, give back my money first. So with humor, with all of this, they were challenging. And even to the police, you had young women walking up to the police and saying, when are you going to beat us? Please just tell us, last time I lost my chappal, so I'll wear proper shoes. And, somebody else, boy walks up and says, why haven't you used tear gas yet? I also want to experience that. And then in Patna, they do this water cannons, and the boys start doing a rain dance. This is a defiance. The defining feature of Modi's rule was fear and hate. Fear got completely broken. I mean, if you told me a day before July 20th that hundreds of students would come with their faces, in the camera and make fun of Modi, criticize Modi, curse Modi, I would have felt it is impossible. People were just, I was going there one day with my wife, and they kept giving you, please eat this, please take, became like, people were sending food by, the food delivery apps from all over the country. They ordered, just go and deliver food to the protesters. So there was so much food, everybody was, it was something that you cannot imagine. But even there was humor. So one guy kept after us saying, please take at least this banana. So, no, thank you. And no, ये मोदी जी की 13वीं का प्रसाद है, which means so it says 13वीं is after when you have the funeral prayers and so on. I mean, they were having fun in a way that would have been unthinkable. So I think what has changed is that this image of this really powerful leader who can never be attacked, suddenly he began to look vulnerable and even comical, sometimes pathetic. This the young people accomplished, and I think that has in that way India has changed.
And I saw some videos where sponsors from the far away, they were sending food to Jantar Mantar.
Yes. Yeah, people are sending food from all over. Delivery vans were coming with food. I mean, they literally were saying 100 burgers, just deliver it there to anybody there. I mean, it was really something. And there was a beautiful cartoon which
it was by Times of India.
Times of India, where you have the delivery guy and he's saying, where is this coming from? They said, India. And who are you delivering it to? He said, democracy. And who is paying for it? And he says, hope.
Mm-hmm. This is included in an article for ISKCON also.
Yes.
It is very beautiful.
Yes.
So let us talk about the formation of CJP.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court Chief Justice Suryakant said cockroach on May 15.
Mm-hmm.
On the May 16, CJP was formed.
Mm-hmm.
Within a week, it got millions of followers.
Yeah, much more than the BJP has.
How was it possible, sir?
Each of the protests, I mean, not just this, the student protests in Nepal, the student protests in... After all, Nepal, what was the issue? It was internet closure.
Yeah, internet blackout.
In blackout. In Bangladesh, it was quota for the Awami League families, etc. So the issue is very specific. But that issue sometimes, when there is a huge well of discontent, they're looking for a moment. And I think this suited, and a young student sitting in Boston makes a joke. I mean, he's called us cockroaches. He says, all lazy cockroaches, why don't you come in here? And suddenly you get more hits than the richest party many people believe in the world. Something began to happen. And when he returned to India and they started this protest with a single demand of the education minister, it looked like, again, very specific, one issue-based kind of protest. But when they tried to crush the protest, when they pulled off Sonam Wangchuk in this very undignified way, when they beat up the students, and when they started detaining them, it was like a dam that burst, and huge discontent. It is not a CJP protest any longer. It's a student uprising. It's a student uprising, and I called it actually the Great Student Uprising, where I think most of all they were saying, we don't have a future to look forward to. And please remember, India, South Asia actually has the largest numbers of young people anywhere in the world. It's not by chance that young people are standing up, and none of them have a future to look forward to. The education system has been completely broken. It's under-resourced. The economic model is not throwing up jobs. And the leadership is hugely corrupt. And all the leaders, the BJP leaders, every single leader has sent their children to study abroad. You want the other young people here to join the lynch mob, and you send your children to build their futures abroad. Young people are seeing this. No?
When the Abhijit Dipke came to Delhi on 6th July, he was not arrested. The police didn't use force, but after 14 days on July 20, there was heavy state force against the peaceful protesters. So why the different treatment to the different...
So this is actually, it's hard to say. But my reading, and because I've been part of the Indian Administrative Service, I've been inside the system as well. My guess is that there was an understanding that there is some degree of public anger on the question of paper leaks, etc. And they felt, let a little bit of protest happen, it'll die down and everything will be normal. So like a pressure valve. And if Abhijit Deepika was Muslim, it would have been very different. He was an acceptable name, acceptable face. And unprecedented in these 12 years. The Deputy Commissioner of Police goes to the airport and hands over the permission to Deepke. All of us who try to have protests, it's impossible, nearly impossible to get permission. So it's almost like inviting, and it worried us a lot. What is the government doing, etc. But I think that when its popularity grew and grew, at some point the government, uska jo sahi chehra hai, it bared its face, and it behaved how it normally behaves. And the moment it bared its face with the way that they try to crush the movement, the way they beat up students, with that kind of cruelty, it had grown into something that they had never imagined.
So Abhijit Dipke promotes Bhimrao Ambedkar. He came to Delhi carrying the book of Bhimrao Ambedkar. So why they are promoting Bhimrao Ambedkar?
No, I think that the BJP RSS does not have its own heroes. They never took part in the freedom struggle. So they're trying to co-opt. And Swami Vivekananda, for instance. Swami Vivekananda's most famous speech in Chicago, he started by saying, "I'm proud to belong to a country which welcomes the persecuted of every religion in every country." And the whole, this government has made a citizenship law which keeps out people of some religion and some countries, So, and yet you're putting him up as an icon. Bhagat Singh was a communist and deeply committed to secular values. You're trying to co-opt him. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, it's even more ironical because he called for the annihilation of caste, and he said that cannot be possible without the annihilation of the Hindu religion itself. His great disagreement with Gandhiji was Gandhiji felt untouchability was a distortion of caste. And Baba Saheb said, no, it is intrinsic to caste. And caste is intrinsic to the Hindu faith, which is why he said, I'm born a Hindu, but I will not die a Hindu.
He converted
to Buddhism before he passed away. So it is not Ambedkar or Bhagat Singh or Vivekanand who they are standing behind. After all, Mr. Modi goes abroad and bows his head before statues of Gandhiji. The RSS Hindutva ideology assassinated Gandhiji. So it's not that he's wanting, they're wanting their co-opted version of these leaders to be their borrowed icons. I mean, they're talking about Shama Prasad Mukherjee. Shama Prasad Mukherjee in 1942 actually wrote to the British government that there should not be the Quit India protest, and all the communist leaders should be arrested, and so on and so forth. So how can you make? I mean, you can try to invent these people into heroes, but all the heroes were outside the Hindutva frame, and now you want to co-opt them.
The good idea.
It won't work.
There were so many demands by the India Alliance, led by, we can say, Rahul Gandhi, but none of their demands were met. But after a few weeks of protest, digital and physical,
5 days actually.
5 days of
between
straight protest.
From July 20th to July 24th. That is all that it took.
Yeah, and their demand was met. So do you think which is the major opposition in India? India Alliance or CJP? Team CJP?
It's not Team CJP. It's the students of India, the young people of India. They've shown their power, I have all regard and affection for the CJP leadership, but there was also a very large contingent of left students whom we don't talk about. Actually, the ones who fasted along with Sunam Wangchuk were actually students of the organization called ISA, which is a Marxist-Leninist student group. They fasted. So I mean, it is a broad-based. There was the Ambedkarite youth who were there, and there were the left youth who were there. So the young people of India, they have emerged, and it is in a sense rightful that they should, because in the end it is in defense of the Constitution, and the first words in our Constitution is "We the people of India." So it is we the young people of India who have risen in defense of the Constitution, because the mainstream political parties have not shown the moral courage to stand up against it. They are trying to also often borrow the Hindutva language and the neoliberal kind of economic model. I think to be fair, Rahul Gandhi had raised the question of paper leaks actually much before this agitation started. He has had rallies. He had so if it was that issue, he was already raising it. He didn't leap into it later. And he's been continuously, even through this period, I think there are many times I disagree with him, but in this he behaved in a very correct way. He said, I'm coming here in support. I'm not coming here to lead this movement. And he had every right to do so. I think the big lesson, and I've been trying to say this to the India Alliance for a long time, is you cannot fight the most important battle. What is the battle in India today? It's not about one political party or another. It's about whether the constitutional idea of India or the idea of an India which belongs to all, in which Ishwar and Allah are the same. That battle cannot be fought by strategy that you're fighting an adversary by almost pretending to be that adversary. Mm-hmm. And if you really think, Birat, it's not just India. I feel this is happening around the world. If you listen to Kamala Harris standing up to Trump, I mean, she was much more presentable, yes. But what was she saying? Not on immigration, she wasn't saying something very different. On Palestine, she wasn't saying anything different. On the economic model, they had no different ideas. Likewise in Britain and in the European countries. I think what is missing and what our young people are reminding us is, tell us what you stand for, and stand for it with courage and conviction. I mean, I have, as these years pass, my respect for Gandhiji has gone sky high. Because I look back at a time in partition, 1 million people slaughtered each other, Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs. And a new country had been constituted on the basis of religion. My own family was uprooted under great violence. My parents were from near Rawalpindi in Pakistan. Train loads of everybody slaughtered, rivers of blood are flowing. And we could have very easily become a Hindu Pakistan. But at that point to say, no, India will belong to all. I was reading his biography again, and it was quite lovely because Gandhi used to say, my India, and then he said, my Pakistan. Can you imagine? Can you imagine today? So it is that feeling of, of brotherhood, sisterhood. Just by the way, one among all the messages during this student uprising, there was this beautiful message from a young man in Pakistan, and he started by saying, please, I don't say Pakistan is supporting and is funding this protest. Pakistan doesn't have money to fund itself. So let's get that out of the way. And he also said that, but he said that I just feel so much love for the young people. Whatever they're saying, their jokes, we understand. And then he said something. He said, after all, we are children of a divorce. You and I, and it is in that spirit, hum ek hi hain, and all across South Asia, we are all brothers and sisters. We understand each other. We have a shared culture. We have a shared collective history, and we need to respect each other, celebrate each other, protect each other.
You are columnist, and many media in India, they were harassed by the protesters, and many Bollywood celebrities didn't support the protesters. So why the division? In Nepal, that was not the case. Almost everybody, the celebrities, they supported the peaceful protesters.
See, in India, 12 years, of repression, and most people have chosen, progressive people who don't support the communal agenda, have chosen silence. And Martin Luther King somewhere said, in the end, we will not remember the words of our enemies, we'll remember the silences of our friends. And it is those silences that were the cause of why, even at this moment. And somebody like Nasiruddin Shah was very, very precious. He is, I think, definitely India's greatest living actor today. And he not only spoke out, he was there on 20th July, also in the milling crowds. Like me, he felt that I must be there, I must stand with the young people of India today. But far too many people have chosen silence.
So what was the reason? They were forcefully choosing silent, or?
No, it's about, no, of course there's a climate of fear. I mean, the ED is raiding them, but they've raided me also. They've raided my home. Fear is an interesting thing. I mean, once you start fearing, now I'll censor myself, I'll do this. Then next time more, then you go further down, and you go into this black hole of fear. If you say, do what you like, I'll hold my head high, I'll answer the call of my conscience. Things, it could be worse. What worse could happen? You would have. I went and spent some time in Germany trying to look at what happened in Nazi Germany. And, historians tell me that the number of Germans who saved Jewish lives was 0.1%. When society gets completely broken, but later generations, there after Hitler went, every later generation is asked, what did you do then? And what did you do then? What did you do then? All of these people who are remaining silent, your children and your grandchildren are going to ask you, what did you do then? कम से कम आँख में आँख मिला के आप जवाब तो दे सकें.
So Sri Lanka in 2022, Bangladesh in 2024, and Nepal in 2025, and India in 2026. Do you find some parallels among these four Gen Z protests in South Asia?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel that all of them are caused fundamentally by the fact that young people have no future to look forward to, and their governments don't care. That is at the heart of each of these protests. And each of them found an excuse, a reason. Each of them were more or less leaderless, effectively. So these are what was common in all of these. The one thing that was different in India, which I am so grateful for, which is the non-violence.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was a good part.
Yeah, and which is why I, in my article in school, I called it, the Satyagraha of the
Instagram Satyagrahis.
Yeah, the Satyagraha of the Instagram age. And I said it, very thoughtfully. I mean, at some point people would, when I first said this to my friends, I mean, it was almost sounding sacrilegious. How can you call this a Satyagraha? But Satyagraha is basically was the idea that you will challenge an unjust government, A, with courage, and B, with non-violence. And our students displayed both of these hugely. There was great courage. I mean, you're getting beaten, you're coming back over all that I was describing. And non-violence was deeply embedded in this movement. Maybe if our government had, very uncharacteristically, as you said, 13 months it took them to accept the demands of the farmers, and they did everything to crush it. And nowhere else have they, has Modi sort of accepted. Somebody advised them that if you do it, and see, they could have, huge forces had begun to arrive in Delhi, but then it wasn't Delhi alone. I mean, we started, some friends started listing which cities. We got to 20, 25 cities, and then you lost count. I mean, you said, you can't, it's too huge a country. I mean, how are you going to live? So somebody pulled them back. I mean, if they had opened fire, if they started killing the protesting students, I'm not sure how the non-violence of the other side would have also lasted.
Only 3 countries are left in South Asia: Bhutan, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. Do you think similar protests will occur in those countries in the future?
The number of messages, they were from Pakistan in particular. And repeatedly I saw this other young woman also who said, मुझे तो इतना प्यार आ रहा है, but मुझे प्यार आना नहीं चाहिए. मैं तो पाकिस्तानी हूँ, मुझे तो नफरत करनी चाहिए. She was also, I mean, something bound all the young people together. And the people in Pakistan were also saying, I wish we would rise in the same way. We have the same issues. But we must remember that there are moments in Pakistan where they've shown great courage. I mean, in Zia's time, there was that moment, Iqbal Bano sang, Hum Dekhenge. Think of a time when you were not allowed to wear a sari, she wore a sari. You're not allowed to wear black, she wore black, a black sari. A woman, and she goes and to a packed stadium, and she sings this song which is about takht par girenge, etc. it was an iconic moment of uprising. I think the Pakistani people have, over the years, there have been times of resistance. There has been courage there as well. Uh, but on the other hand, this politics of hate, the more it overtakes you, it saps that kind of moral energy. In India, Hindu khatre mein hai. It's quite remarkable because, upper caste Hindus controlled everything. There was somebody had done a survey of the boards of directors of Fortune 500, 1,000 Fortune 500 companies. Found 91% of them were just not only upper caste, but just two castes, Brahmin and Banya. You control the media, you control politics, you control everything. फिर भी खतरे में है, But Pakistan is the extreme. Now it's 96% Muslim. वहाँ फिर भी मुसलमान खतरे में है. So this sense of being dominating, controlling, and yet feeling persecuted is what communal forces do. And young people in Pakistan have to break out in the way that young people in India have broken out.
Peacefully.
Peacefully. Absolutely peacefully. And Satyagraha is an extraordinary kind of courage it requires. I mean, of all the images of the protests, there are but three favorite ones. One is this young woman who actually, they're all men running. This young woman is standing like this, and in between all those men and the policemen. I mean, that is one image. The second is of the woman who just saw this bus full of protesters being taken by the police, and she goes and stands in front of it and puts her two hands. And seeing her, then lots of other people go, and then it's that kind of courage, etc. But the third image was, the police was beating, and this young man, he then goes on his knees. He goes on his knees and he puts his hand like this, and he bows his head and he says, "Beat me." That is the spirit of Satyagraha, and I think, I hope I'm right. I do feel that the spirit of both Gandhi and Ambedkar have seeped into our young people. They found their own language, their own expression. But the idea of Gandhiji, to me, represented radical love, and Ambedkar represented radical equality. And I think, I hope that it is with both of these icons that they fight back the RSS.
So what do you think will be the future of South Asia as a whole in the post-Genji revolt?
It's going to take a long time. I mean, I think that the tragic story of all our three other countries after the Gen Z revolts is that the governments that they have brought in have tended to push them further to the right, have followed the same politics of hatred and support to big business.
In Sri Lanka, Nepal and Bangladesh?
Yes. And in India, of course, the government is still in power. So I feel that we need to spend a lot more time not just being clear about what we fight against, but also what we want to build in its place. If this economic model is not throwing up jobs, what economic model do you have in place? Right? For instance, if we want a society a country which belongs to all, what will be the status of every minority? How do we protect those their rights to be equal citizens? These are questions we'll have to. What will be the nature of the school system, public universities, public health? How will we raise the resource of it? How are we going to tax the super rich? These are questions we'll have to deal with. And I think none none of the opposition parties are talking about it. And so young people at some moment have risen up to break down what existed. But they've just got another face who's carrying forward the same ideology in some way. And sometimes, I mean, for the Jamaat to emerge in the way that it did, I mean, the whole 1991 uprising, 1971 uprising in Bangladesh, its liberation, its principal enemy was the Jamaat. In India, the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi was by Hindutva forces. You're bringing them back. So I think it's a generational battle. It's not going to magically change. But every fourth human being lives in South Asia. And more than half of these are people below the age of, young people below the age of 25.
Still, if they are not satisfied, they will come to street again, right?
It's very hard to predict. No one would have predicted any of these 4 protests. So I think we'll have to see. But young people have understood their power, and that's a great thing. And history is witness to the fact that in every country, in times of great crisis, it is young people who have led them to a better future. Our young people, we must make space for those young people to show the way.
I have finished all my questions, sir. If anything you want to share about the Gen Z protest of India and other things.
No, quickly, as I wrote in my article, I said that the Modi years are characterized by 2 dominant things that characterized those 2 years was fear and hate. The fortress of fear has been breached. I'm not sure yet if the fortress of hate has been breached, because of what India's Muslims have suffered over those 12 years. Very few people have stood up for them. How much is that going to change? Is what we have to still see. And for Nepal, don't let yourself be caught in these 2, in a climate of fear, of self-censorship, of not wanting to speak out, looking away when injustice is happening. Don't go down that path. And second is, don't let your leaders persuade you that all your problems are caused by one vulnerable minority here or one vulnerable minority there. Our problems are caused because you are not having the policies and implementing them for our future. I think if Nepal has still not gone all the way that Bangladesh, Pakistan, India have gone, take care. It is with the friendship of an elder brother, older in age, that I'm here. I'm trying to say, take care.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that's all for now. Stay tuned, stay connected. Thank you so much.